Hello, Internet, and welcome to my review for Promised Neverland Episode 3. When we last left our heroes, they found out they were farm animals, being shipped off to be eaten by demons, and started plotting an escape. Emma and Norman gathered Ray into their little plot, and are now they've all agreed to get all of the kids to safety, not just the three of them, whichever ones would be able to survive. Um, and we have a couple new people. A baby named Carol that, as I mentioned last week, looks shockingly similar to Emma. And the evil sister Crone, who is very clearly evil, and I'll talk about her later on, but I'm not a big fan of Crone. Anyway, moving right along into, so our first real meaty scene of the episode is where our three protagonists are all discussing like the state of things in the library, particularly Crone, and what I want to talk about first, the tracking devices. There's one particularly noteworthy line I really want to talk about here, and that's where they're discussing how the tracking devices would work, and Ray's like, the tech that they think they would need for tracking devices wouldn't be available in 2015. Also, the world map behind Norman notes that it's 2010. No, the world map is from 2010. However, we know that this current series is set in 2045. So all that information, plus how all the episode titles are based on whatever day the episode ends during, leads me to believe that time is going to be a huge factor going forward, not to mention all of the clock motifs in the background during games of tag. That something happened. For one thing, there's that 30-year gap that will make 2015 the nearest available human tech. That somehow the kids who did not know about demons until like 2 days before these events know that human tech would have stopped around 2015, leads to all kinds of weird questions. Or maybe they knew there was some kind of weird gap from 2015 to the present, and demons kind of answers that question. I don't know. But I feel like whatever happened in those 30 years is going to be a big answer to all our questions going forward. Just a reminder, manga readers, shut up. Do not spoil anything. This is another one of those big mystery series, and I would rather not get that spoiled, so just don't. And we also have, and moving on, Isabella and Crone, where we find out that Isabella either knows or heavily suspects Emma and Norman are the ones who have found out about the secret. And what I find really important here is that she does not seem to have any idea that they've let Ray in on the plot. Which I think it's kind of weird that she wouldn't even suspect that, but the fact that she tells Crone that it's two of the oldest means that she suspects Emma and Norman, and at that point she'd have no reason not to let Crone in on the fact that she suspects Ray, if she suspected Ray. So I think, while Crone later on, I'm going to argue, absolutely suspects Ray, and maybe not Emma, but maybe Emma. Isabella does not suspect Ray at the moment. But that probably will change going forward, of course. Also, I'm very interested in the friction between Isabella and Crone. I'm very much a fan of villain groups who don't act monolithically, who have kind of conflicting goals. You know, they're both technically trying to serve the children up to the demons, but like Crone also wants to backstab Isabella and take her spot. And so I'm very excited for the idea of the way, you know, Isabella and Crone's shared goal and Crone's personal goal will intersect later on, probably by the end of the season. But this is a long enough series that we'll have to wait and see. Now, on to my biggest gripe of the episode, and that is just how fucking bad these children are at scheming. You know, Ray and Norman are like, they may be whispering in the room with Crone about their plot, but they're still talking about it with the person who is trying to kill them in the room. It's like they're just asking to be caught. Which is almost exactly what happens when Crone walks right up to them. And, you know, maybe hears them, maybe doesn't. It's left kind of vague. Then Emma starts talking about, you know, tracking devices and the enemy and being eaten right next to Glasses Girl. They're just really bad at this. I will say, though, the later reveal that presumably Glasses Girl is a traitor working for the demons, absolutely betters that. Once we see all the shots behind the bushes of who I'm presuming is Glasses Girl watching them, um, and my theory is that's how Glasses Girl finds out about everything, and then somehow she runs to Isabella, and Isabella kind of twists everything to where it seems like Isabella's the good guy, and Emma, Norman, and Ray are doing something evil or something. I don't know exactly, but that's my current theory there. Because so I'll talk about this in more detail near the end of the video, but the Ray, Emma, and Norman being so bad at this, and the demons not catching on, or the caretakers, I should say, not catching on, is just makes them seem less threatening. Which in a series all about the tension of being caught is really a bad choice to make. But I'll talk more about that later. For now, we're going to talk about tag. And the tag sequence is really smart. I really like the idea of Emma, Ray, and Norman using games of tag to disguise, training the younger kids to be better running away and hiding their tracks. And that leads us to probably the biggest action sequence of the night, the day, whatever. Crone's game of tag. And while Crone is just a little too over the top for my taste, in almost every shot she's in, she just looks ridiculously evil and lacks the kind of sinister, layered approach that Isabella has at the moment. We don't really get to see villains train, you know? And it's kind of a good and we know that Crone is training here because she doesn't use the tracking devices. She actively, assumes that they're gonna get rid of the tracking devices by the time they escape, and starts training herself to be able to catch them. And we see she's not good enough yet. We see that at the very least, Ray and Norman get away. The fact that a real life, chase to the death would not be timed does kind of muddy that water a little bit. But yeah, I really like the idea of having to watch Crone train to catch the kids better. Also, she uses her training as just a means of pure intimidation, both with how fast she is and how easily she catches everybody, how easily she deceives the younger kids into going right where she wants them, how she just barges open the tree with brute strength. It's a sign, and we see Emma watch that, and it's a sign that she's clearly outmatched here. But now I'm going to talk about the traitor reveal in more detail. Given that we cut to 10 days after the tag game, I think we're on 27th or 28th of October now. But our heroes are all kind of discussing how Isabella has kind of been laying off them for a little while. How they, for whatever reason, they suspect that Isabella has stopped suspecting them, which is a really weird idea for them because she fairly clearly hasn't. I don't know why would she think that one of the younger kids would have figured it out and not started telling everybody? I don't know what they think about there. But anyway, they piece together that the reason Isabella has probably gone not as hard on them is because there is a traitor in their midst, who I'm presuming is the Glasses Girl who overheard Emma talking about demons and shit earlier in the episode. And the big question that will decide my thoughts on everything in this episode, especially the ineptitude of our trio of protagonist scheming, is if Glasses Girl already knew everything, or if she found out from Emma's colossal fuck up while checking Carol for the ear thing. Because what I was worried about, despite that very big issue, I did really like this episode. But what I was especially worried about was that with the three of them being so bad at scheming, makes the caretakers seem just pathetic for their inability to catch on. The worse our heroes are at this plotting, the worse it makes the villains appear for their inability to figure out that they're plotting. But if Glasses Girl is the traitor, and she found out because of Emma talking to talking while searching Carol, that makes their protagonist failures the direct result of their latest predicament, or the direct cause of their latest predicament, which is just damn good storytelling. That being said, I'm still a bit of a holdout on Crone's character, as I said earlier. She just kind of lacks at least the appearance of like genuine love for the kids that makes Isabella so horrifying. And is a lot more campy in general. Almost every shot, like a creepy smile, the creepy eyes, the eyes going all every which way, which just makes her a harder sell as a villain for me. But yeah, that's all I have to say for this week's episode. Next time, there's a traitor in our midst. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed the episode and the video. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!